pile of you.
Yeah. The rest of us will kind of go straight down the road here and then split up after that and come down.
Okay.
And then we're gonna just come on around here, and they're gonna end up with just a pile of them in that corner over there, and they'll have to come on down. But I'll be on this side, and so when I feel like they're coming down off the hill about right, I'll cut this gate open here and we'll take off. And then this is a longer trail, but it's more straightforward for them. There's not as many options to leave the road. But you'll just want to be kind of in position before we start up Devil's Slide, because it's hard to get ahead of them then after that.
A couple riders on the side then?
Yeah, I'll be up front, and Dustin will be kind of next, and then just play it by ear from that point. If they need help in the back, we need to, kind of get that wad out of the back and, work the sides a little bit, then fine. How was the drag yesterday?
They weren't bad. We just had some issues when we got to where the green grass was tall enough.
Yeah.
They'd stay on the road until somebody passed by, and then we'd have to.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't bad at all.
I think we'll be all right until we get to that big flat after Dooley's Corrals. Well, let's head out this gate here. Well, we just got them out of the gate and on the road. The last day of the trail here. They are wanting to go. Try to get up here in front of them so we're not running, scattering out too far here. Had our usual tough gather out of the creek bottom there. That creek's tough it's a blessing to have the water, but it is tough to get across. So there's only a couple spots that it can cross, so you end up just taking them all the way down to one end and getting them across there. So the cameraman's giving my lead a good bump here, so I'll try to roll him up. Get him going, Rocky. Shh. Line out, cows. Rocky, way over. Easy, girls. These girls don't realize they have 16 miles ahead of them. So, and they are rather plump. So we'll blow them up best we can up here. If they get ahead of us going up Devil's Slide here, we can't ever get in front of them. So I like to get up here in front of them, and this will narrow up as we get up here, and we'll be able to blow them up pretty good here. So. Pretty good climb up out of here, and then for the most part it's all downhill from that point.
So here we are heading up Devil's Slide. The cows they're actually trotting up the hill. They seem to be pretty full of energy this morning. Usually by about the top of the hill they run out of steam and then they start walking. So Vanny's up there in the lead, trying to hold them back so they don't get strung out too awfully far. It's a little easier to manage them when they're grouped up a little better. They're trying to squirt around him and whatnot. Just sneak in through the middle of them here.
There's no running in the halls, girls. Hey, no running. Hey, now that is enough. They feel good. They've had some good grass, tanked up on water. They're ready to roll. Hey, hey, hey. They know exactly where they're headed. Girls. Seriously. Gonna be looking like me after basketball last night here after a couple miles. See, now they'll try to find their own path over here. So we'll bait them into coming this way so they don't take that draw. Yeah, good decision, girls.
It's always kind of neat when the cows get on the trail and they just quit bawling. All you hear is the sound of the feet hitting the road.
It has been a bit of an odd trail. You know, these cows wanting to go so hard like this after yesterday, they almost acted like they didn't want to leave there at first. Once we got them on the trail, they lined out and went just fine, but it's been so warm. I mean, other than the meadowlarks not singing, it kind of seems like spring almost. And there's a little green grass coming just like in the spring when they normally come out here. And some of those girls wanted to head south yesterday. So it just, and now they just feel good. They had some really good grass here the last few days and plenty watered up. They're in good shape and they know where they're going now. And so they just wanting to go. But they would run themselves to death in this hill right here alone if I wasn't up here wowing them up just a little bit. They got a long ways to go today, so they can't burn it all on the first hill. Do not normally come up here and woe up the lead, but in this case, you darn sure better. Normally, when it's colder out, they kind of just line out and just walk. You know, they're burning a lot of energy just staying warm when it's cold out. And right now, they've got a lot of unburnt energy.
We're up on the top of Devil Slide right now, and this morning you can feel probably about 10-degree changes in little air breezes coming off the top of this cliff here, or whatever you'd call it. It's kind of interesting. It'll be like 45-degree breeze, and then all of a sudden 50 degrees or something, 50, 55. So I think most of these cows, probably 75 or 80% of these are one iron brand cows, meaning that they were born and raised on the place, and it's kind of a unique thing. A lot of cows are kind of bought and sold and traded back and forth, and it takes a long time to develop a herd that's all one iron brand cows. Cow's lifespan is, on average maybe 10-12 years, and so it takes 12 years worth of keeping replacement heifers on your own place to develop a herd of that size to make them all one iron brand cows. So it's kind of neat. Most of these cows know the trail back and forth, so you know, you got the ones that have done it for 10-12 years back and forth. They know they know the routine, and that makes things a lot easier. It's mostly the 2-year-old heifers that are kind of oblivious to what's going on, and they're always at the wrong end of the pasture when you gather in the morning and all that. They're the ones that veer off the trail and that cause you a little bit of grief. There's a gas pipeline that runs through this area right here. I think, I'm not real positive, but maybe something to do with the express pipeline.
Well, we got things settled down a little bit now. The girls are just at a nice walk here, but man, they've been trailing nice. They're all relatively together. I'll bet we're only strung out like a mile or so. Usually by now, sometimes it's a couple miles. It looks like the back, I've seen them a couple of times as they come over some ridges. You can just barely see them back there, but it looks like they're moving along pretty nice. So sometimes when you see that drag and it's big old wide thing, you know that they're having a little bit of trouble back there, but it looks like they're doing pretty good. Coming home is like the end of the fiscal year for these cows. And so once they get home and go out on the fields, we'll preg test them, and all the open cows will go on down the road, and bred cows will start a new year. It's just a neat cycle, I think. You know, coming home is a opportunity to you know, kind of catch up if they're lacking a little bit, and they go on to some pretty good feed here, and there's not a calf drawing on them, and so it's the beginning of the cycle. You just look at that cycle and what we do with these cows, and I just think a lot of people don't realize how efficient we are with the resources that we have, and how efficient these cows are, and how they've been bred over the years. And you know, operations have evolved over the years to be efficient, and we've had to be competitive. To make the economics work, you've had to be competitive. And so this industry is an industry of efficiency and sustainability. I mean, we utilize these badlands that we see right here, and we basically convert sunshine into pounds of beef. And you've got these outfits anymore that are trying to make these fake beef products, and you know the efficiencies aren't there because of what they cost. And they're gonna use energy to produce that fake beef, and don't let them kid you. It's gonna cost energy, some form, electricity, natural gas, some form of energy is gonna cost them to make those fake hamburger patties or whatever they're doing. And here we are completing a cycle of one of the most efficient ways to produce a protein, and a protein that is greatly sought after, you know, very nutritious and very safe, and an entire industry that has devoted itself to those qualities and to be sustainable. So there's just not a better way to utilize this country around here than to put this grass through a cow, let her carry a calf, and harvest that calf. It's an amazing cycle, and I think a lot of people just don't realize it. They don't realize, you know, how efficient we are, and how well utilized these resources are. But you see places where they don't graze, and they get overgrown, and then they have wildfires, and then they spend millions of dollars putting these wildfires out. And if we properly graze graze this country out here. I mean, we need to do it efficiently, and we need to do it responsibly, and we have to leave some for the next year, and we leave some for the wildlife, and we be responsible with it. And in the process, we reduce the fuel load that's out here, and that reduces the fire possibilities, and then that reduces the amazing amount of money that's spent every year. I had a fire out here just a couple years ago, and they had these big, I don't know what they are, C-14s or something, huge planes come by and dump 3,000 gallons out of whack. They told me it costs $65,000 every time that guy dumps that load. We spend millions. I think they said this costs $1.5 million to take care of this 3,000 acre fire out in the sagebrush and the cheatgrass. You know, so you look at places where they're limiting thinning of forest and all of the issues they're having with fires now, and it just, I mean, I think there's just too many people out of touch with how simple it is to manage this. But you've got to have a cow operation such as this and a grazing plan put in place, and you can adjust things here and there. I think that the year we had this fire out here, it was a classic example. We had some great grass coming. We had a wet winter. We had some timely rains in May and I mean, we grew some grass. And we should have increased our stocking rates. And that would have, for that year, helped reduce that fire load. But, you know, they come out here and they measure the fire load, and that year it was enormous. It was unbelievable. All it takes is one little dry lightning storm, and then this whole country is on fire. But so it's a management. It's management of an entire ecosystem, you know, conscious of endangered species and conscious of how you're grazing things and how you're scattering your cattle out, and development of water. You know, all of those things go together to make this thing work. And we've gotten really good over the years. And in the end, after all that management, we have a wonderful product to deliver to the grocery store. So it's just, I wish more people knew about it. I wish more people knew the industry like the producers that we have. There's just not very many producers around anymore, and most of the population doesn't come in contact or doesn't understand it, and I think that message needs to be sent out there. So anyway, we'll keep heading down the trail. I'll bet we got maybe 10 miles left. So. And I think there's a truck with muffins and pop in it coming up. So, see you then.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.